I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm by any means.
That's not your nature.
That's not my nature. But this is blatantly clear that the NFL wants the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs.
KJ Wright, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. The NFL did not screw over the Seahawks. The Seahawks screwed over themselves. So what is going on? So the NFL decided to flex the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions game, which is in Lambeau Field in Green Bay, to the Sunday Night Football game. But I guess the problem with that is if the Seahawks win that game against the Rams, and let me emphasize it, win that game against the Rams, the Lions will be eliminated and will have nothing to play for, which gives Green Bay pretty much an advantage to win and make it to the playoffs because the Seahawks need the Packers to lose that game. But if the Seahawks win, that may give the Lions not much of incentive to win at all. And of course, that's where you're hearing all these conspiracy theories that the NFL is just screwing over the Seahawks once again, I guess just like Super Bowl 40. And then they just want the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs because Aaron Rodgers is a moneymaker for the league.
You do not put this game at the primetime game, the Sunday night game, because when the Seahawks win, the Lions like, oh, we don't have, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? A lot of people saying Dan Campbell will get them going, get them fired up to win. It's in a player's nature. Like, we're done.
Now, here are some issues I do have with that. So I'm looking at a few games that the Seahawks really should have won. And had they win just one of those games, they would be in the playoffs and would not have to rely on another team losing.
We win our next 2 games. Do we make the playoffs?
We could. If New Jersey beats Boston, Memphis beats Nashville, and we finish ahead of Phoenix in net points in conference games, meaning our margin of victory needs to be at least 18 points more than theirs.
Thank you.
There's also wins within the division.
Yeah, we get the idea, which is it is way too complicated to figure out. So let me make it real simple for you. We take care of business and the rest will fall into place.
And I will say this, if you have to rely on another team to lose just to make the playoffs, you probably don't even deserve it. And I am going to explain why. So the 5 losses that really stick out the most are the games they lost to the Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Carolina Panthers. So let's go over all of them. So the Atlanta Falcons. So the Seahawks really should have won that game. They had an entire quarter to score a touchdown and win the game, but that didn't happen, and it did result in Geno Smith throwing an interception at the end of the game. So that one was pretty inexcusable, especially when the Seahawks had the lead, and you had your good luck charm Chris Myers calling the game. So here's the New Orleans Saints game. So although it was a close margin of a game by 1 possession, it just wasn't their day for them. The defense just wasn't there. I guess you just couldn't blame Geno Smith as much as I pretty much am a Geno Smith doubter, but I guess I'll give this one a pass. Now the Tampa Bay game against the Bucs in Germany, there was a key play where Geno Smith fumbled the ball when it was 14-3 and they were in the red zone. And by not converting on that, Seahawks had to play catch up for the rest of the game and they didn't win because they just ran out of time. And now here's the Raiders game. Now this one was just embarrassing. So they should have closed the game in the 4th quarter. Now the defense was terrible this game, of course, because as much as Geno Smith was doing his thing on the offensive end, the defense just wasn't doing their part. But however, the Seahawks still had time to get to field goal range. And although there was a controversial call on DK Metcalf with an incomplete pass, there was still another opportunity to win in overtime, and Geno Smith completely just blew it along with the entire offense. And then it led to Josh Jacobs scoring a walk-off touchdown, Bo Jackson style.
And Bo Jackson to the 20. And out in front, and only one man to turn him. Easily can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo.
And then here's this game. They lost to a Carolina Panthers team that just fired their coach and cut Baker Mayfield. Yeah, if you're really losing to a really crappy team, yeah, you have no one but to blame but yourselves. What I notice about Seattle fans, they tend to play the victim and blame on basically everything else but the team itself, not looking at the team's own flaws and mistakes, but rather blame it on everything else because it's more comfortable that way and a lot easier to do that. And I know I'm probably going to be criticized for this, probably going to be called bandwagon fan, not true fan, but this channel is not about me saying everything that you want to hear. It's about me giving my honest takes and a more objective approach on the Seahawks. And let's go to the game for the Seahawks and Rams. They still have to win the game, and let's not forget, this is a Rams team that would love to play spoilers on the Seahawks, which they have done dating back to the Jeff Fisher era, where even if they had like the worst possible team, they would still make life hell for the Seahawks. And don't forget, Baker Mayfield, he has a lot to play for, because if he can win this game or at least play well, he could be an attractive free agent signing going into the future for the next season. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the Seahawks are really getting screwed over, or do you agree with me that the Seahawks pretty much just sabotaged themselves and had every bit of opportunity to make the playoffs? But of course, they have to rely on the Packers to lose. But anyways, thanks for watching the video, and let's hope the Seahawks win on Sunday and make the playoffs. Oh, by the way, there's another thing that I have to mention. So everyone's saying that the NFL is screwing over the Seahawks. Well, let's not forget how much the NFL screwed over the Green Bay Packers back in 2012 with those replacement refs. So it's kind of hypocrisy that the Seahawks fans are saying they're getting screwed when Green Bay got screwed. So I guess we owe them something in return.